Okay, this is the unboxing portion for the Moondrop Venus. This is the latest headphone released by Moondrop. It's the second one after the Void, which was just redone. I also have that one too. Let's take a look at the back of this. It looks like it's 3.5 to the headset, 3.5 and 4.4 terminations out. Would have loved to have mini XLR, but can't always get what you want. I will, again, fast forward through this stuff so you don't got to go through the slog starting probably right about now. Okay, cable. Let's take a look at this. This is 4.4 with 3.5 that are going into the headset. Looks like a nice cable. That is a regular 3.5 to the 3.5. QC001. Okay, let's take a look at this. This looks really sharp, to be honest with you. Let me move this. I'll leave this right here. Let me put this on my head real quick. Fit is okay. It's obvious quite wide open back. I can see the magnets through here. The suspension system works. It's actually fairly comfortable, to be honest with you. That looks pretty cool. So basically that's your driver right there. So I'm going to go ahead and give listening impressions, first impressions of course, and then edit this video right here. Okay, it's a video for the new Moondrop Venus. This is first impressions, but it's not going to change when I do a full video. I'll just get into more detail in the full video. It is a beautiful looking set. I think it's well built. I think comfort is great. It's not, it fits fine, but it's, if my head was a little smaller, I'd be in trouble. It's not, the clamping is kind of loose, but it's honestly not a problem. It's very much open back. Everything outside you that you hear is, you're going to hear it easy. Rub your fingertips together while they're on your head. You'll hear every little grind of your fingers. It picks up everything. That's a good and bad thing depending on the environment that you listen to this in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the site real quick. Flagship full-size planar headphone, $549. I think that this is very much reminding me of the Hi-Fi Man ARE, which however that's pronounced, the headphone that's I think roughly around the same price range. This tuning and the way that it plays back reminds me of that set. So keep that in mind. That's what I think, that will never change. The difference, one thing is that the Hi-Fi Man has an oval type shape, and when that hits my lower jaw, I kind of break a seal, depending if I turn my head. This circular type of design, like the HE6 SEV2, is more, I like it better, it fits better, I don't have to worry about losing a seal at all, so I prefer this to that design, and I also think that it reminds me of that set. So note that and remember that. I have not heard the Ananda, so I don't know, but I definitely think that the one I mentioned is similar. Now, quickly moving through music. The sub bass with tracks like Pack Like Sardines in a Crushed Tin Box, Tupac, Violent, Kill Jill, Massive Attack Angel, things like that. Good and bad. Good would be something like Tupacalypse Now, or around 60 to 70 hertz using a spectrogram, because I've checked. That constant low droning, boom, nails it, not a problem, everything's fine. Same with Massive Attack Angel, no problem whatsoever. A little thing to point out is when we get to Kill Jill, which a lot of people are familiar with now, there's a triple drop, and the lowest of the triple drop is at 38 hertz. That is simply a driver is being energized with something, but not really a hit, like on some sets like the Mod House and also the HE6 SEV2, but it's quite similar to the ARE. if I'm getting that pronounced right. It is, in fact, kind of like that, and it's better than stuff like the Sennheiser HD660s and some sets that have rolled sub bass, which don't do that at all. That's just a total gap in the music. This plays it, but it doesn't do it in a way that some other planar sets do. The Susvara does it better, but again, $6,000. So that's interesting. The drones that are around 70 hertz, 60 hertz are fine. Drop around 38 hertz. It's got less presence and more sense of something's happening with the driver, but you're not really picking up it as a musical event. So that's something worth noting. As we get into bass guitar, Sultans of Swing, Black Sabbath, Violent Femmes, I think that the presentation of bass guitar is very neutral to normal and accurate. There's no really elevation, and I mean that there's no sense that the bassist is being pushed forward or drawn back. The pulls and releases on the strings of Sultans of Swing sound like they've got snap to it, but he's not overly present. Mixed emotion, sometimes I would like more, but I guess if I wanted, I would grab the Mod House. This is a clean, accurate replay. It does mid-bass or bass guitar fine. There's not a problem there. As we move into another instrument, the drums, and using stuff like tracks from Neil Peart and John Bonham, I think it does drums well. Also, I think that the pronounced and produced kick drum on When the Levee Breaks is like the 38 hertz drop. It's accurate, polite, dry. A lot of people are going to like it. I would like a little more energy. Thankfully, I've got other sets like the Mod House and the HE6s EV2 that are more specialized and can do that a little bit better. But I think most people who are listening to drums as part of a presentation, an ensemble of a rock group or other, aren't going to find really any issue with that. As we move into vocals and we get to stuff like a singer I just mentioned in a previous video, Stevie Nicks, where her vocals were obviously husked up. She's a throaty, kind of husky female voice. When you add a little bit more mid-bass and meat to that, that was the CCA and IEMs. It becomes really non-ideal, actually not cool at all. Takes the sweetness away from female vocals. That's not happening with this. I think that Stevie Nicks, Gold Dust Woman, The Chain, tracks like that sound excellent. Never Going Back Again, Lindsey Buckingham with the acoustic guitar, I thought sounded excellent. So I think for once we get into the mids, and the mid-bass stuff is going actually quite well. I thought that Fleetwood Mac sounded excellent. The drum play on The Chain and other tracks, for example, like dun 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 dun, I thought sounded excellent. So bass guitar really is fine, as are drums, and I think vocals are too. Male vocals, whether it's Jerry Garcia or Chris Cornell or Kurt Cobain or others, sound very good as well. So this isn't skewing vocals in a way because of the mid-bass or because of some late treble boosting of harmonics to my ear. That would be something I'd pick up immediately. With the open back added, it would be multiplied or magnified. That's not the case. Getting into the final for this quick review would be the strings for Vivaldi. And I listened to concertos 1 through 4 or 5. Let me check, please. 4 in F minor. Vivaldi helped me discover that late boosting to the treble is unnatural to my ear and it's fatiguing. That's not something that I'm getting from these open back headphones. I don't really get it with any of my favorites. The HE6, the Mod House, the Susvara, none of them give me, I think the Aria of all of them was closest to giving me some sense of maybe fatigue, but not really. This is maybe a little better than that as far as the vocal harmonics go. It's not dark, and the harmonics of strings, which can be quite intense. If I listen to IEMs 3 tracks, 4 tracks in a row, I'm going to have a ringing in my ear if there's that kind of boost, like the Gaia, the Stellaris, and some other sets that I've recently got my hands on. This isn't doing that, so I think if you've got a classic centric or it plays a big part of your library, I'm not hearing anything with this set that would say you might want to watch out for that. The only caveats I've got is if you've got a lot of stuff going on in the deep sub bass, which is a few genres, this would be something that wouldn't be a beast for that. But otherwise, beyond that, I think it's a good set. Again, build quality seems quite good. I wish it had a 4.4 because I think the way that they deliver this with the 3.5 cable, I don't know what, I don't think 3.5 is going to do it. I put the 3.5 on the ADI 2 DAC, and that was, I keep turning up the volume. That didn't work out. So I think this is being presented as a kind of portable friendly, run it off your DAP, and I'm not using DAPs much recently, but I think this benefits greatly from the Jotunheim too, and not the ADI 2 DAC. So be aware, this does maybe need a little more power than is implied. However, I haven't been following with the advertising or what other people are saying, so if that's already being said, that it needs power, then I'm just going to add on to that. And if other people are saying you don't really need to worry about power, I'm going to disagree with that slightly, because I think it's doing much better with the Jotunheim 2 than it was off the ADI 2 DAC using the 3.5 included cable out of a 3.5 port on the ADI 2 DAC. So that's it. Enjoy you guys' weekend. I'm probably going to drop this on tonight on Friday or tomorrow Saturday. So good set, worth the money. I think it's competitive with the Hi-Fi Man. I think it's got some of the strengths and weaknesses. I do recall that set being more energetic and slightly fatiguing than this set. And I'm out.